Hello, Lindsay, and thank you so much for being with us here at Glee TV. Many garden centers are all about the retail experience in local, like in bricks and mortar stores. How can they translate that experience to e-commerce?
That's a really good question, Lena, and it's really lovely to be at Glee, so lovely to be back after all these years in COVID. So many garden centres have already got their bricks and mortar stores, and some of them have ventured into online. A big opportunity that the garden centres have now is to join the dots between the two, because as a consumer, we don't just buy online, we don't just buy in physical stores. We have a very fragmented journey, what we call it. So I might do a bit of research online and go in store. So as a garden centre, it's really about taking your brand hat off and putting your consumer hat on and thinking, actually, as a consumer, what are people doing? Are they buying in store or are they buying online? And thinking about the different generations and how they're purchasing. But e-commerce does make up a big space in that opportunity for garden centres, and it's thinking about how they can harness that, not just from an e-commerce perspective, but from an information perspective as well.
And what are the key considerations to take into account when investing in e-commerce?
First of all, it's probably a question that we get asked a lot, Lena. There's a lot of people wanting, there's so many places to invest. Where should I invest? Where should I prioritise? There's two areas that I think garden centres have a real opportunity to invest. Not necessarily money, but could be time if they do have time. One is their product description pages. So their product description page, in a sense of the keywords of the product, the description around how it grows, what it grows. If I'm searching for plants that want shade, it's an opportunity to be found in search. The images and the video and the reviews, and then adding to basket. Or if it isn't in sale, then actually when it's in stock, let me know. The other big opportunity they have is content. So thinking about earlier on in that journey when there's lots more people that have got into gardening and they're not necessarily thinking, I want to buy a hosta. They might not even know what hosta is. And I'm not a garden expert as well, but they might be searching for actually plants that are good in the shade. And there is an opportunity for content. That can be a blog post on their website, it could be a video, it could be a little live stream they've got, or it could be an invitation. Actually, they email out and say, we've got an expert coming to talk on what to plant in shady areas, come in, or we might be streaming it online as well. So they're the two biggest opportunities I think garden centres have to tap into both sides of that area.
How about social media? How can retailers boost that social media engagement?
You have lots of good questions today, Lena. Social is a huge opportunity, and many people might think, well, my audience isn't on social media, it's an older generation. Well, there's lots of stats out there to indicate that the older generation are on social media. My parents, for example, are in their late 60s, early 70s, and since COVID, they watch YouTube all the time. So they're searching and they're more familiar with those channels. But also that younger audience don't use search engines. So they don't do a search on Google for inspiration. They search on social media.
And in terms of business partnerships, I'm thinking like brand ambassadors that we see a lot in the fashion industry. Could that be translated into the garden retail industry?
Absolutely it could. There's a whole discussion we could have on influencers or ambassadors, which is a much nicer word. Ultimately, everyone is an influencer at the end of the day. If you give someone a great experience, then they can be an influencer anyway. But you've got people like Ellen Mary, who I know has judged your awards before and is a good friend of mine. She's a good brand ambassador for gardening and well-being, but also smaller influencers or ambassadors like nano ones. You don't have to be, people often think, I've got to pay an influencer for something. They're the mega influencers, and some people are not swayed by them because they know they're paid. So think about, actually, there might be someone that's actually not got a huge following, but is really passionate about, I don't know, bees or, some sort of wildlife or gardening or hostas. There's plenty of those people that you hear and see, and actually working with them in collaboration, sending them a product for review or just asking them to talk about something from that perspective. But make sure if you are working with ambassadors or influencers, that you abide by the regulations around that with #ad or #gifted and stuff like that.
And how about social media shopping? Is that something that garden centre retailers should look into, or that's a bit too far-fetched?
I don't think it's too far-fetched, as we chatted about earlier. If you're thinking about future-proofing your business, and that younger generation, they don't even venture onto search engines, so they're not going to find your website. They are searching on social media and they're familiar with social media and they're happy to buy on social media. So being on social media, if you want to future-proof your business to make sure you're attracting that younger generation of today and tomorrow, is a good aspect to focus on, not solely, but in line with everything else. But also thinking about the content on there. So you don't have to spend lots of time on social media, but don't just sell on there, because people, those younger generation might be searching for like how to start a garden at home or what plants can I have in my house. So creating content, but then mixing that in with commerce, so you can have a picture of, not got a big garden, then here are some plants, we've got an offer today on 3 plants for £10, and these ones are perfect for small gardens as an example, and you can then obviously have the commerce button. And that's really good. Lots of brands have come up from nowhere using social commerce because it doesn't cost you anything. All you need to understand is what you sell and what your audience wants and needs are, and that's where a lot of brands have started and actually become very successful from the down up, from social commerce up.
Thank you so much, Lindsay, for talking to us here at Glee TV, and thank you for watching.